It was a frigid winter night at the deserted pier. The only soul around was a lone night security guard. The pier, usually a bustling hub of fishermen and tourists, was eerily quiet. The guard, a seasoned veteran in his profession, was used to the solitude, but tonight something was different. A chill ran down his spine, not from the icy wind, but a sense of unease that seemed to cling to the air. His usual routine was disturbed by strange sounds echoing in the night. Rustling chains, footsteps on the wooden planks, whispers carried by the wind. Each sound, a mere trick of the night or something more sinister, only heightened his sense of dread. The isolation of the night shift can be unnerving, and for our lone security guard it was turning into a nightmare. The vast expanse of the sea, usually a calming sight, was now a black abyss, reflecting his growing fear. His only company were the flickering streetlights and the occasional squawk of a distant seagull. He was a seasoned guard, trained to handle all sorts of situations, but nothing could prepare him for what was to come. The whispers grew louder, the footsteps quicker, and then a deafening silence. The air around him felt heavy, charged with a primal fear that made his heart race. The guard reached for his walkie-talkie, the only link to the outside world. He reported the eerie events, his voice a shaky whisper against the silence of the night. Each word, a testament to his growing terror. However, the terror of the night was not over. The whispers turned into screams, the footsteps into a frantic run, and then just as suddenly, everything went quiet. The last thing heard on the walkie-talkie was a chilling scream that echoed in the silence of the night. The security guard was never seen again after that night. His only testament was the chilling audio recorded on his walkie-talkie. Imagine working in a place where the line between life and death is thin. A night nurse in a deserted hospital wing had such a fate. In the heart of the city, there was a hospital, a place of healing during the day. But as the sun set, it took on an eerie silence that echoed through its long, deserted corridors. In this hospital worked a night nurse named Sarah. Sarah was a brave soul, always ready to face the challenges that the night shift brought. Little did she know, she was about to encounter something that would change her life forever. One cold winter night, as she was making her rounds in the deserted wing, she heard a faint sound. It was a child's laughter, echoing through the empty hallways. But there were no children in that wing. She brushed it off as her imagination and continued her rounds. Over the next few nights, the occurrences became more frequent and more unsettling. Doors would open and close on their own, lights would flicker, and the child's laughter turned into weeping. The deserted wing was no longer just empty, it was haunted. One night Sarah saw an apparition, a small child in a hospital gown standing at the end of the hallway, staring at her with hollow eyes. A wave of cold dread washed over her. She could feel the sadness and fear emanating from the apparition. She was frozen in place, her heart pounding like a drum. The apparition disappeared as quickly as it appeared, leaving Sarah in a state of shock. Despite the terror she felt, Sarah tried to rationalize her experiences. After all, hospitals are places filled with emotions, and perhaps these occurrences were just residual energy from the patients who had passed on. But the fear was overwhelming, and it started to affect her work and her mental health. The nurse quit her job the very next day, never to return to the hospital. The haunting in the hospital wing had taken its toll on her. She left her nursing career behind, choosing to distance herself from the chilling experiences of her past. Even now, she shivers at the memory of those cold, haunted nights in the deserted hospital wing. Endless highways take a sinister turn when the sun goes down. A long-haul trucker had a terrifying encounter one such night. As the shadows of dusk crept over the horizon, our trucker found himself alone, his rig rumbling down a desolate stretch of highway. The only company he had was the hypnotic hum of the engine and the occasional flicker of distant headlights. On this particular evening, however, his solitary journey took an eerie detour. A figure emerged from the roadside darkness. A hitchhiker, standing motionless, thumb extended in the universal plea for a ride. The trucker, a seasoned veteran of the night roads, didn't normally pick up strangers, but something about this specter compelled him. He pulled over, the heavy brakes of his rig squealing in protest. The figure approached, a shadowy silhouette, against the dim glow of the headlights. They climbed in, their face obscured by the darkness of the cab. They didn't speak, only gestured towards the road ahead, a silent request to continue the journey. The trucker felt a chill descend upon the cab, a cold that seemed to emanate from his silent passenger. The miles stretched on, and the trucker's unease grew. He turned to ask his passenger where they were headed, but the seat was empty. The phantom hitchhiker had vanished. He slammed on the brakes, his heart pounding in his chest. The cab was empty, save for the lingering chill. He was alone once again. But the echoes of his phantom passenger remained, a cold whisper on the wind. Our trucker continued his journey, his hands trembling on the wheel, the memory of his spectral encounter imprinted on his mind. He arrived at his destination with the dawn, a rattled man with a harrowing tale to tell. The trucker was found in a state of shock, babbling about a ghostly figure that disappeared into the night. The phantom on the highway, a chilling reminder of the unseen dangers that lurk in the shadows of the night. Libraries are peaceful during the day, but a night custodian found out that they can be anything but when darkness falls. Our story takes us to a quiet town library, a sanctuary of knowledge that turns into a domain of dread when the sun dips below the horizon. Our protagonist, a humble custodian, used to revel in the tranquil silence that settled in the library after hours. But little did he know, he was not alone in his nocturnal solitude. As he went about his duties, the custodian would often hear hushed whispers in the distance, as if someone was discussing a fascinating novel's plot. He would turn around expecting to find a forgotten patron, only to be greeted by rows of empty chairs and deserted aisles. The whispers seemed to come from nowhere, yet they were as real as the chill that would run down his spine. One particular night he noticed an oddity, a book left out of place. Now this would not ordinarily be unusual, but this book was not just misplaced. It was hovering in midair before it gently placed itself back on the shelf. The sight was as perplexing as it was terrifying, and the custodian could only watch in stunned silence. The spectral presence, it seemed, was not just a disembodied voice. Over time, the custodian would catch glimpses of a shadowy figure moving between the aisles, always out of sight, but never entirely out of mind. The figure had an uncanny resemblance to the stern-faced librarian who had passed away in the very same building many years ago. The chilling encounters and inexplicable events were enough to make the bravest of hearts quiver. The custodian, unnerved by his spectral co-worker, decided he had had enough. Despite his love for the tranquil silence of the library, the unsettling encounters were too much for him to bear. He left his job, vowing never to set foot in a library once the sun had set. The custodian left the job, swearing never to step foot in a library after dark. These stories are chilling reminders that working alone at night can take a terrifying turn. Let's take a moment to reflect upon the eerie tales we've just heard. A lonely pier worker confronted by an inexplicable phenomenon. A hospital worker tormented by the haunting sounds and sights of a past tragedy. A highway worker witnessing an eerie phantom. And a librarian stalked by a spectral presence in the silent corridors of knowledge. Each of these stories paints a chilling picture of the unknown, the unexpected, and the unexplainable. They remind us that when the sun sets and darkness engulfs the world, the veil between the normal and the paranormal can thin, revealing glimpses into the other side. These experiences are not just stories, they are eerie encounters that have happened to ordinary people, just like you and me, who found themselves alone in the dead of night. Perhaps you too have a story to share, an unsettling experience or a mysterious encounter that you've had while working alone at night. We'd love to hear it. Sharing these stories not only brings us together as a community, but it also allows us to explore the mysteries of the night and the unknown together. So step into the light and share your experiences in the comments below. Let's unravel the enigma of the night together. Let's delve deeper into the mysteries that the darkness holds. And let's help each other stay safe when the sun goes down. If you enjoyed these tales of terror, remember to give this video a like, leave a comment with your thoughts, and share it with your friends. Your engagement helps us reach more people, and who knows, maybe your story will be the next one we tell. Don't forget to subscribe for more spine-chilling stories. Until next time, stay safe out there.